Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarvagurubhyo Namaha. So today we are going Vedic Chanting lesson number 5. And we gave a lot of information and booklets last time for you to go over and to read about Vedic chanting. And classical chanting also will be included in that. Classical Sanskrit chanting is a subset of Vedic chanting. So those people who are just interested in chanting classical Sanskrit, you can also listen to this. You can just disregard anything which is specifically about Vedic mantras.
The Vedas are a vast collection of hymns that are believed to have been heard by ancient sages when they were in a deeply meditative state. Collectively, the Vedas are the most authoritative source of Indian wisdom, as they encompass not just intellectual knowledge, but also an understanding of profound concepts that cannot be perceived or inferred through the senses alone. These precious teachings of the Vedas were transmitted by means of oral recitation and recollection across successive generations of teachers and students, thus preserving their sanctity for posterity. This oral tradition of transmission of knowledge was known as Adhyayanam, in which the student would listen carefully to the teacher and repeat exactly in the same manner. In Adhyayanam, the emphasis was on perfection and discipline. The teacher would not progress until and unless the student was able to chant perfectly from memory. This called for strict adherence to the basic pedagogy of Vedic chanting, while ensuring complete focus and attention. This system of rules also ensured the preservation of an ancient oral legacy. So much so that even today, no matter who chants the Vedas and when or where they do so, the rendition will sound exactly the same as it did when the ancient masters chanted them thousands of years ago. Let us now take a quick look at the fundamental rules of Vedic chanting. The rules of Vedic chanting are presented in chapter 1 of the Taittiriya Upanishad as follows. Shiksham Vyakhyāsyāmaha Varnasvaraha Matrabalam Samasantanaha Ityuktashikshadhyayaha. The 6 rules of chanting, in brief, are Varna, the pronunciation of syllables; Swara, notation; Matra, duration of recitation of syllables; Balam, the force of aspiration of syllables; Sama, continuity of successive syllables chanted in different notes; and Santana, punctuation. Let us now understand each of these rules and their significance in the process of chanting. Varna. The term Varna means syllable. The Sanskrit alphabet comprises 51 letters, which includes both vowels and consonants. The consonants combine with the vowels to produce distinct syllables, each of which is pronounced from a specific region of the mouth or throat. The Sanskrit letters are grouped on the basis of the place of origin of each sound as follows. Guttural sounds. The guttural sounds originate at the throat. The syllables that constitute the gutturals are as follows. A, ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, ha, and ugh. Palatal sounds. The palatal group of letters comprise those syllables which are pronounced from the palatal region. These are I, E, Cha, Cha, Ja, Jha, Nya, Ya, and Sha. The retroflex sounds. The retroflex letters are pronounced with the tip of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth. The retroflex letters are as follows. R, R, Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na, Ra, and Sha. The dental sounds. The dentals, which are pronounced with the tip of the tongue against the teeth, are as follows. Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na, La, and Sa. The labial sounds. The labials are formed by the lips coming together in specific positions as follows. U, Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, Ma, Pa, and Pa. The nasal sounds. The nasal sounds are pronounced with a nasal quality. While they are listed under the previous categories of syllables, the nasal sounds also constitute a separate group in themselves. The nasal sounds are Nya, Ma, Nga, Na, and Na. Further, there are some syllables that are pronounced using a combination of the mouth, teeth, and throat. The guttural palatal sounds are pronounced using the throat and the palate together. These are A and I. The guttural labial sounds are pronounced using the throat and lips. These are O and Ow. The sound Va is a dental labial sound pronounced with the teeth and lips coming together. There are a few other rules that govern pronunciation. The sound im, transliterated as m with a dot on top, is known as anuswara. The anuswara changes in pronunciation depending on the letter it precedes. Let us now look at how the anuswara is pronounced in different situations. When the anuswara im precedes any of the gutturals, that is ka, kha, ga, gha or nga, it must be pronounced as ing. For example, kavim kavinam must be pronounced as kaving kavinam. Kirti prishtham gireriva must be pronounced as kirti prishtham gireriva. When the anuswara im precedes any of the palatals, that is cha, cha, ja, jha or nya, it must be pronounced as in. For example, ritam cha svadhyaya pravachane cha must be pronounced as ritancha svadhyaya pravachane cha. Shuddhyantam jyotiraham must be pronounced as Shuddhyantam jyotiraham. In the same way, when the anuswara im precedes any retroflex sound, that is ta, tha, da, dha or na, its pronunciation changes to in. When the anuswara im precedes any dental syllable, that is ta, tha, da, dha or na, it must be pronounced as in. For example, Gananam tva must be pronounced as Gananam tva. Annam nanindyat must be pronounced as Annananindyat. When the anuswara im precedes any of the labial syllables, that is pa, pha, ba, bha or ma, its pronunciation does not change. For example, Chandramava apam pushpam. To give you another example, Tvameva pratyaksham brahma vadishyami. When the anuswara im precedes the sound va, its pronunciation does not change. For example, aham vrikshasya reriva. To give you another example, satyam vada. When the anuswara im precedes the syllable la, its pronunciation changes to il. For example, bhuriti va ayam lokaha must be pronounced as bhuriti va ayal lokaha. When the anuswara im precedes the syllable ya, its pronunciation must be done with a nasal quality. For example, tacham yora vrinimahe must be pronounced as tachayora vrinimahe. Gatum yajnapataye must be pronounced as gatui yajnapataye. Further, in specific portions of the Yajurveda, the anuswara im changes to the sound gung when it precedes any of the vowels. For example, tatha loka gung akalpayan. Similarly, the anuswara im also changes to gung when it precedes sha, sha, sa, ha or ra. To give you a few examples, Ogung shomiti shastrani shagung santi suvariti yajugung shi Ritagung satyam param brahma purusham krishna pingalam Shariragung hridaye Twagung rajan. Apart from these rules, in the Yajurveda, when the anuswara precedes a conjunct consonant or samyuktakshara, which begins with sha, sha, sa or ha, the anuswara must be pronounced as ig. To give you a few examples, Pangte naiva pangtagas pranotiti priyagashradhe dadataha Bhuya sagasvaha visargahyevayallabdhvanandi bhavati. The visarga is also pronounced differently in different contexts. As a general rule, the visarga takes on the sound of the vowel that precedes it. For example, in the word akashaha, the visarga takes the sound of the vowel a. In the word shantihi, the visarga takes on the sound of the vowel I. In the word vayuhu, the visarga takes on the sound of the vowel U. When the visarga is followed by sa, sha or sha, it also takes on the same sound, and hence the letters sa, sha and sha must be doubly emphasized. For example, shantihi, shantihi, shantihi is pronounced as shanti, shanti, shantihi. When the visarga is succeeded by the sounds pa or pa, it does not take on the complete sound of the preceding vowel. Instead, the visarga is aspirated, the lips are closed, and the following pa or pa is emphasized. For example, take the line punaha pranaha punarakutamāgāt from the chant Laghunyasaha. This line must be chanted as punah prana punarakutamāgāt. In the same manner, when the visarga is followed by ka or kha, it does not take the complete sound of the preceding vowel. Instead, the visarga is aspirated, the lips closed, and the following ka or kha is emphasized. For example, take the phrase upaitumam devasakaha kirtishcha manina saha from the Shri Sukta. This line must be chanted as follows. Upaitumam devasakha kirtishcha manina saha. Swara. Vedic chanting scales 3 fundamental notes or swaras. It is the juxtaposition of these swaras in a preset manner that lends Vedic chanting its own unique cadence. There is a basic neutral note which is indicated in the text by the absence of any notational marking. The upper note is marked with a vertical stroke above the corresponding vowel. The lower note is marked by a horizontal line beneath the vowel. Further, in some cases, there is a delayed upper note which is pronounced as a combination of the neutral note and an upper note. Let us understand swara using the example of the syllable Ma. Ma is the neutral note. Ma is the neutral note followed by the upper note. Ma is the neutral note followed by the lower note. Ma is the delayed upper note. Ma. Is a sequence of notes in the order neutral note, upper note, neutral note, lower note, and delayed upper note. Matra. Another important rule that governs the pronunciation of sounds in Vedic chanting is the duration of recitation of the vowels which make up a syllable. This duration is known as matra and is of 4 types. Hrasva, which is recited for a duration of 1 unit. For example, A, I, U, and so on. Dirgha, which is recited for a duration of 2 units. For example, A, E, U, and so on. Plutam is recited for a duration of more than 2 units and will be clearly indicated in the text. For example, Ahamasmi prathamaja ritasya. Here, in the word ritasya, the syllable ta is extended for a duration of 3 units. Sushloka sumangala. Here, the syllable ka in the word sushloka and the syllable la in the word sumangala are both extended for a duration of 4 units. Lastly, we have what is called the ardhamatra, which is of the duration of half a unit. This applies to the pronunciation of independent consonants not attached to a vowel. For example, prachodayat. Here, in the word prachodayat, the last letter is the consonant it, which is pronounced as t. Similarly, chakshushrotram manovaktvak. Here, the last word, which is tvak, ends in the consonant ik. When chanting, it must be pronounced as k. Balam. Balam represents the force with which each syllable is enunciated. Based on the degree of aspiration involved, the Sanskrit letters may be classified as Alpa Prana, which need to be softly enunciated, and Mahaprana, which need to be aspirated. The Alpa Prana syllables are A, A, I, U, V, R, A, I, O, Au, Ka, Ga, Nga, Cha, Ja, Nya, Ta, Da, Na, Ta, Da, Na, Pa, Ba, Ma, Ya, Ra, La, and Va. The Mahaprana syllables are Kha, Gha, Cha, Jha, Tha, Dha, Tha, Dha, Pha, Bha, and also Sha, Sha, Sa, and Ha. Sama. Sama represents the continuity when reciting the chants with successive sequences of notations. It refers to the successive linking of swaras to give a musical element to the chanting, while not becoming sing-song in style. For example, take the line Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha. Here, the syllable No is in the upper note, while Me, which follows right after, is in the lower note. To raise the first so much that it is not possible to lower the next without a pause is incorrect and causes a lack of continuity. This must be avoided through proper linkage of the swaras. The same line must therefore be chanted as follows. Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha. A good way to ensure correct linkage of swaras is to check on the maintenance of the same neutral note. Therefore, we must not start the neutral note at one pitch and when we finish reciting, end at a different one. If the maintenance of the neutral note has been done appropriately, then we can say that linkage has been done well. Santana. Santana represents the punctuations that need to be made at appropriate places when chanting the text in a manner that does not detract from the beauty of the chant itself or alter its meaning in any way. The rules for punctuation are as follows. A pause must be given before any word that begins with a vowel. For example, Ya Evam Veda. To give you another example, Nama iti dve akshare. When the visarga is followed by the conjunct syllable ksha, a pause must be given before ksha. For example, Senanibhyascha vo namo namaha kshatrebhyaha. A slight pause is given after Om. For example, Om Ayurdhehi. A pause is also given between consecutive lines of a mantra. For example, Agnir me vachishhritaha Vaghridaye hridayam mayi ahamamrite amritam brahmani. Having explained the important rules governing Vedic chanting, we now proceed to give you a practical experience of the process of Adhyayanam to help you learn and practice the art of Vedic chanting. A careful selection of simple and slightly more complex chants has been given in this product. In this Adhyayanam portion, the first teacher chants a line of the chosen mantra. The second teacher repeats that line. After this repetition, a pause of the same duration is given for you, the listener, to repeat that line of the chant. This method is followed for every line of every chant. In some chants, where each line of the mantra is very long, the line has been split up to enable ease of comprehension and repetition. Now, listen as the first teacher chants. Learn as the second teacher repeats that chant, and then you chant in the gap that follows. We commence the Adhyayanam portion of this CD with the traditional invocatory prayer, saluting the lineage through which these teachings have been transmitted.
Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Yasya Dviradavaktraadyaha Parishadhyah Parashatam Vignan Nignanti Satatam Vishwaksenan Tamashraye Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphatikarritim Adharam sarvavidyanam Hayagrivamupaasmahe Pundarikaasanasinam Pandurabhrendu sannibham अखण्डबोधजनकं हयग्रीवमुपास्महे गुरुभ्यस्तद्गुरुभ्यश्च नमो वाकमधीमहे वृणीमहे च तत्राद्यौ दम्पती जगतां पति श्रीकृष्णवागीशयतीश्वराभ्यां सम्प्राप्तचक्राङ्कण भाष्यसारम् श्रीनूत्नरङ्गेन्द्रयतौ समर्पितस्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे विरोधे कार्तिके मासे शतताराकृतोदयं योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमहं भजे श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ
Ayur Mantraha. This mantra from the Taittiriya Aranyaka invokes the divine, seeking long life, good health, and stability.
ॐ आयुर्धेहि
ॐ आयुर्धेहि ॐ आयुर्धेहि
ॐ प्राणं धेहि
ॐ प्राणं धेहि ॐ प्राणं धेहि
ॐ अपानं धेहि
ॐ अपानं धेहि ॐ अपानं धेहि
ॐ व्यानं धेहि
ॐ व्यानं धेहि ॐ व्यानं धेहि
ॐ चक्षुर्धेहि
ॐ चक्षुर्धेहि ॐ चक्षुर्धेहि
ॐ श्रोत्रं धेहि ॐ श्रोत्रं धेहि ॐ श्रोत्रं धेहि ॐ मनो धेहि ॐ मनो धेहि ॐ मनो धेहि ॐ वाचं धेहि ॐ वाचं धेहि ॐ वाचं धेहि ॐ आत्मानं धेहि ॐ आत्मानं धेहि ॐ आत्मानं धेहि ॐ प्रतिष्ठां धेहि ॐ प्रतिष्ठां धेहि ॐ प्रतिष्ठां धेहि ॐ मां धेहि ॐ मां धेहि